Good afternoon, the LaSalle Senior High School, and everyone watching us via our social media platforms. I am Jillian Bonifacio.
And I am Francis Nicdao. We are your Masters of Ceremonies for Ad Mayora, Ceaseless Brilliance Amidst Adversity, this year's presidential elections meeting de Avance.
As we journey along our quest to find the best student leaders to represent the institution, we will need other people to help us screen our choices. Thus, may I present to you the panelists for this year's presidential elections meeting de Avance. May I present to you Mr. Russell Santos, Mr. Red Caballero, Ms. Jasmine Cristobal. Please give a hand to Ms. Mary Carpio. May we welcome Ms. Elme Dumalaog.
Let us not wait any longer. May we introduce the highlight of today's event, the people whom we seek to know more about. Please welcome our candidates for this year's presidential elections.
Running for Grade 12 ABM representative, we have Mr. Sebastian Satuito.
The way that I can apply the outcomes of my platforms is that I can, or it hopefully, it helps the Lasallians or us, the Lasallian community, or specific the ABM strand, to find values and lessons that they can learn from the information disseminated so that they can apply it in their daily living, not just in an academic setup, but also in a setup where we may potentially have face-to-face.
We have your aspiring Grade 12 UMS representative, Mr. Alfonso Arteta.
We need to raise awareness on voters' education. Why? Because voting is an important civic engagement, and as we all know, we all have that right, which is suffrage. And that right is not only our right, but it is also our privilege. And we need to use this privilege in order to help and decide on the future of this beloved nation.
Up for the challenge of becoming the next Grade 12 SPT representative, we have Mr. Miguel Uy.
Background knowledge of the SPT track, it's pretty brand new compared to the other strands, right? So by hearing that, I think it's important to include my strand as well, since by that history, I don't like the idea of being not excluded, but more of not being part of the general whole.
Claiming to be the best fit for the position of treasurer, we have Miss Kyla Urbina.
For the YACAG, it actually aims to promote social awareness and assistance. So I got this idea to the LSYC where they did an handog where they have the booths, ganyan, and for a cause, they collected a amount.
Vying for the position of Secretary, Ms. Cassandra Medina.
My priority responsibility as a student council secretary is to maintain the order in the student council and the student body, because if a community isn't unified, I believe that it's incredibly hard to push things through, like projects or any of that stuff. So if the community would be unified with each other, then it would be easier to push through with any kind of projects or the like.
Let us all welcome Ms. Rafael Rodriguez.
One unspoken job po kasi of a secretary is overseeing the strand representatives and how they work and how they implement their plans as per experience. So based on my current job as a strand rep, I believe that the learnings I got from my experience as well as from Ate Bria's leadership with us, I think that the skills that I have honed is more compatible in being a secretary than any other position.
We have your aspiring president, Mr. Mark Caidlang.
I think it's a common thing that most student council officers encounter, and it's that it's trying to address and answer the concerns of the constituents. And I will continue to push and passionately advocate for my platforms, which aims to address the concerns and the requests of my constituents.
There will be a special segment called One for All. In this new segment, the same question will be raised to all of the candidates, and they will each have 30 seconds to answer.
Well, as a student and as a Filipino, I believe that the Paris Agreement is really beneficial to the Filipino people because it talks about the climate change and on how we will deal on it.
Well, as a male, I don't want to seem biased, but in general, I think it's just a movement that puts a certain group of people into this lower standard in society, and I totally go against that.
Personally, I stand for men or trash because obviously, I don't mean every single male is trash. However, it is such a significant amount that it affects so many people. So yes, thank you.
Yes, I agree. All things are political. Even the smallest decision in your life is political. Everything with it is viable to politics. Actually, the term apolitical is misused word. There's no such thing as a political, and you always take a stand no matter what.
As a leader, I always value communication and compassion. Communicating with my constituents, in communicating with my constituents, I'll be able to know what they need and want to for the betterment of them. And with that, that's how I describe my leadership.
And that ends our last round for One for All. We now directly go to the questions from the audience.
My top three advocacies are social awareness, youth empowerment, and information literacy. 3 out of the 4 platforms reflect these, such as Project Knowledge, Project Sanggunian, and Project Build.
Well, what makes my projects different is that they are based on more of the ideologies, opinions, and concerns of the students because I want to get them involved with my projects.
And that's it for the online Q&A with the student body. Thank you, dear audience.
We appreciate the time you set today to become more informed voters for our elections next week. Do not forget to exercise your right to vote.
Vote wisely, Lasallians. Remember that you dictate what lies ahead. Thank you.